Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the trade report video for the week of January 8th, 2017. So first up, I wanted to take a look at the Dow Jones Industrial ETF here. So everyone is looking at the Dow, thinking the Dow is going to break through 20,000, and just wanted to kind of look at it technically here. The Dow had a big run up, and then it just kind of consolidated over the last few weeks. And right now it looks like it's on the brink of breaking 20,000. Still looks very bullish to me. I don't see any reason why it shouldn't break 20,000. It just, technically it looks like it wants to go there, maybe next week. So, we'll see what happens. But the Dow, this is just a very kind of bullish pattern, nice run up, and then sideways consolidation, and it just looks like it wants to go higher. So that's the Dow. Let's take a look at S&P 500, SPY, similar pattern. The SPY had a little bit more of a pullback compared to the Dow. You can see here where it had this pullback and then put in this basically a higher low compared to this, or a lower high, I should say, compared to this recent high, and then it broke down here below this low here. So that was kind of an intermediate term downtrend. And then basically after it broke out through resistance right around 226 area on Friday, this looks like it's now continuing with the major trend, which appears to be up and continuing higher. So this SPY still looks strong there. IWM for the small caps. Looks like still consolidation here. It's got some resistance up here at around 138. Support down here at 134, and so it's in that range right now, just consolidating, likely for a move higher. So at this point we don't know, but a bullish move would be a move through this 138 spot and break out to a new high there. So there's the IWM, and then just real quick, let's take a look at the IBB. So the IBB looks very strong to me. We had basically a few days ago we had a big breakout, this big green candle here, and it broke out through this resistance level of 276 area. You can see where that was an important level, right in here, couldn't break it. A retest here, a retest here, retest here, and then finally it broke through it, okay, on good volume too. So to me it looks like the IBB is now in an uptrend, the biotech sector. So, and there's a lot of names in the sector that look pretty good. So I'd keep an eye on the biotech sector and names in the sector, and there's there's a lot of names out there that have some pretty good chart patterns, but this is looks like it's continuing higher here. So the IBB, the biotech sector, actually looks like it's now on a longer term uptrend. So let's see, XLF, let's take a look at XLF, the financial ETF. The financials also still look pretty strong, a lot of the banks. This one's still consolidation range here, sideways. I'd watch for a breakout through, I don't know, let's see the high of these wicks maybe. The resistance area looks like it's around 2372, somewhere in there. But so that's the financial ETF, still looks strong. This is the energy ETF. Not as pretty as some of the other ones, but kind of ramped up and then kind of pulled back here. Not seeing anything really clear here, although a lot of the oil names still look pretty good to me. But that's the XLE. So maybe a move through this recent high here, right around 70, I'd say 77-ish, would be a confirmation of a new leg up. So that's the XLE. And now we'll take a look at some names that were on the watch list last week, and some names that are on the watch list for Monday. And we'll discuss the marijuana sector. And to me, it looks like it's a lot of names in this sector are really setting up for breakouts. And so I've got multiple positions in the marijuana sector right now. And I did really well with those back in October when they took off. And when I started seeing these patterns emerge again, I had to jump back in. And so we'll talk about that as well. So first up, let's just take a look at CBIS, this is a marijuana play, okay? And so this is the big run up that happened last year around October, and it had a massive run up, okay, up here, and then it kind of topped out. Let's kind of bring it up. Let's see, 90 days is good. Okay, so basically right around this 7 cents area, you know, if you look at the opening and closing prices, of course the candle wicks go up here at around, you know, near the high 7 cent. And then, but I would use the real breakout area right around this area here. I'd say I'm thinking 7 cents. Okay, so that's my spot. And so it tested it once, twice, and then just pulled back, and then ramped up all the way up there to test that breakout level again. And then a few days ago, it tested it and failed. And so now this looks like a bull flag. So here's your you know, your flagpole, the big run up, and then the sideways consolidation. And so I'm in this one here, and I'm looking for this one to break out through 7 cents area, even through, you know, the highs here to new highs sometime next week. And it may not get there next week, but as long as this consolidation right above this breakout level continues, I think this one's going to go pretty quickly. And so this is one that I'm still sitting in right here, CBIS. I like that one. And another marijuana play that looks like it's could be making another run here soon is this MCOA. Here's the big run up, and then it's just kind of sideways. And this one needs to get through probably this area here, you know, 8.5 cents for a confirmation of the next leg. But it does look like it's forming a little bit of a bull flag. There's MCOA. Cerna, SRNA, is another one that I own. I bought this one through when it broke 20. So here was a run up here, a pullback, and then as it broke through this 20 spot on this day here, I bought some. It basically closed right there at 20, and then it ramped up, got as high as I think 24, and then pulled back some. But the key on this one is, once again, it's a similar pattern as, you know, the other marijuana plays, where it's got this resistance area up here right around I don't know, 25 cents, somewhere in there. But I'm looking for this one to potentially make new highs too, because of the strength in the sector. So I got a position in this one around 20 cents. Still long. Cerna. Let's see here. ENTA. Here was a nice biotech that broke out last week. It was on our watch list early in the week. See the spot here, this candle wick high. It tested that 35 spot right there too, and then it pulled back and put in this higher low. And so if you're swing trading this, you can kind of use this trend line here as your stop, right? And then the breakout level was right here at 35. And so this one still looks good, still looks like it could go higher, especially with the strength in the biotech. So you always want to think about, you know, what is the major trend of the sector itself when you're looking at the individual names. And if the sector is strong, then you want to buy the strongest charts in the industry. So ENTA, you know, biotechs remain strong. This one still looks like it's going to go higher. ARRY is one that I traded, but I got impatient with it. And so this one had this wick, you know, these candle wick highs right around 9 cents, tap, 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 kept tapping it. Finally broke, and I thought that was it because it had big volume, and then it pulled back below it. Still wasn't concerned at that point because I thought, okay, sometimes these breakouts, you know, sometimes you get a couple of fake breakouts before they actually stick. And this one, I actually still like it, but it's just not a fast mover for me, so I opted to take my money out of it and move it elsewhere. So this one, I still like it. I do think this one's going to go higher, especially if the biotechs remain strong. So this is one to keep on your radar if you're interested in it, ARRY. TRTC, another marijuana play here. Basically, I still have a position in this one. It's not a big mover like the other ones, but you know, I'm still in it. Had a double bottom pattern here around 26, actually probably 25, somewhere down here. And then as it broke out through this 30-cent spot was my trigger to buy. So I'm in around 30 cents. So I've got a couple A couple pennies profit on this one, and not as pretty as the other ones, but I do think this thing is going to head higher, this TRTC. It's kind of a pullback last couple days, but I think this one's going to go higher, so I still have a position there. All right, let's see. LMAT was another one from our watch list last week, and so this one had a spot here at 25, right, somewhere in this area here for a breakout, and you're looking based on this high here, this candle wick here approximately, and then this one. So it looks like it broke, and then now it's kind of pulling back, testing that support around 25. So kind of a breakout pullback setup here. You know, I think this is not a biotech, but it's in the healthcare sector. So, but this pattern looks to me like if this 25 holds, this thing could ramp back up and break out through, say, 25, 50 area in there. You know, this basically would be, you know, a higher low right in here. You know, here's a low, here's a higher low, and this is the first higher high, a higher low, and so that one still looks pretty good. Cutter, this is another healthcare slash biotech. You know, basically, this one also still looks good for next week. So here's, if you're looking at, see these candle wicks, these highs here, once, twice, 3 times, false breakout, kind of a sideways, and so sometimes, you know, the breakouts aren't always so clear. I like to look at kind of the opening and closing prices. So if you're just looking at the opening and closing prices, you know, this would be the breakout spot right in here, and these little candle wicks that poke through, you know, and this was actually, if you look at this, you can consider this thing is already broken out. And so here, you know, basically consolidating just above the breakout level. But Cutter still looks good to me. And if you use the candle, the wick highs as the breakout level, then you can see where it's just pulling back, sitting, you know, basically a little doji there, doji candlestick on Friday. And so this one looks like it's ready to ramp back up and make new highs. It's in a longer term uptrend. So that one still looks good. Cutter. ICON, this one had a nice pattern, but it failed. It had this basically a breakout spot here at 10. You can see, you know, right in here, once, twice, 3 times, 4. And usually when that happens, you know, the 5th time is a charm. Usually the 4th or 5th time of testing resistance, they usually go. But in this case it didn't. It poked through and then it failed. So, you know, if the pattern continues, maybe it ramps back up and tests it again. And we'll keep it on radar and watch it, you know. But if it ramps back up near 10, somewhere in that area, it'd be one to watch for a breakout, you know, that's going to stick. But as of this point, it looks like it's still in this range here between $8 and $10. So not a top watch at this point. INWK was another false breakout. So it had this really nice pattern, you know, for a 10 breakout. And then it basically tried to break and then completely failed and pulled back. So, you know, I guess the only thing now, it doesn't look nearly as appealing as it did before. But, you know, if it ramps back through 10 again, maybe it's one to watch. But at this point, I'd take it off my radar. It's a failed breakout. So, DAKT, this one had a spot here at around 1080. Where it broke, and then now it's pulled back into it. So this one at this point is a failed breakout as well, although the pattern still looks like maybe it's starting an uptrend here. So maybe I would trade this one maybe if it held this trend line here and then broke through 10, or I'm sorry, 11. That might be a trigger to go long this one, but not the prettiest chart at this point, so I'll probably stay away from this DAKT. ARC was on our watch list last week. Had a nice spot here at right here at these right around 510 area. So that one had a nice break, and then it had a pullback. So a lot of times these breakouts will pull back to the breakout spot, and then that'll be the support level. it'll find support there and then ramp higher. And so this one potentially, as a breakout pullback setup, it may hold this area and then ramp back up. So there's ARC. LVLT, this one finally broke out, although I completely missed it through this basically, I don't know, 57 area here. And if you look at a longer term chart here, 5-year chart, actually, let's go to 4-year. Can we go to 4-year? Yeah, 3 years is good, but look at this. It's a 3-year chart here. See this resistance area? See how important that level was? Right in there. 5770 area, way back here again, and then now finally broke through that on big volume. So LVLT, I think what's probably going to happen with this one is that it pulled back a little bit, but I think this thing is, after this little brief pullback, it's just going to ramp and make new highs, this LVLT. This is a very, it's not a big mover, not a big percentage mover. It's a larger cap name. I think it's got like a $100 million market cap company, but this is a strong breakout to new high, two multi-year highs, and then so now it's just consolidating before the next leg up. AK Steel, still love this chart, and it still needs to consolidate more apparently. It's, after this big run up, it put in a low here, ran back up near this 1110 area, and then pulled back, put in a higher low, and then now it pulled back again. And what I'm thinking is going to happen is it's going to put in a higher low, or I'm sorry, higher low, maybe right around this area where it's at now, and then ramp back up and push through this, I don't know, maybe 1125 area, somewhere in there, 1120, clean is obviously up here, but this pattern looks very bullish to me. It's just bullish. It's a bullish flag / basing pattern, and so I really like this AK Steel. I'm going to keep this on my radar for a buy through this breakout through 1120 area, somewhere in there. So AKAO. So very strong chart, had this monster breakout, had a pullback, and then now it's starting to ramp up. And it's a biotech, so it's in a strong sector, and so I think this one is going to just continue higher from this point. The clean break is up here at 1615 area, but this is the highest closing price since this big breakout right here. You can see this big candle here, it closed right around 1490, pulled back. So this is the highest closing price for this stock, and it just looks like it's in a very bullish pattern, ready to make new highs. Cara, another biotech I'm keeping an eye on here. It's had this pullback, and now it's just kind of trading sideways, but it looks like it's starting to stair step higher. Put in a higher high here, a little bit of a higher high here, and so it looks to me like it's potentially over the next week or two going to push back up here to 1250 area. So this is one to watch. CARA, I like that one. NRG, an energy name from last week's watch list. Let's take a look at a long-term chart on this one. Downtrend, right, and then right in here. Let's see here, right in here. Okay, so here's your bottoming pattern right there. See this clear resistance level here? See that right there? So here's your bottoming pattern, right? And this is kind of a head and shoulders bottom. So basically what they call a complex head and shoulder. So here's your left shoulder, and this is also kind of a left shoulder, so it's like a double shoulder. And then here's your head, okay? And then here's your right shoulder. So this would be a complex head and shoulder bottom. And then as it broke through that neckline there, that resistance, it consolidated, pulled back, tested it, and then broke out through the recent high right around 13 and on good volume. So this NRG looks like it's now in a longer term uptrend. So this is one to trade if you're interested in this energy name here. But yeah, you can see the pattern, right? The breakout, consolidate, breakout, and maybe it's going to consolidate a little bit after breaking through 13. But Longer term, it is an uptrend as far as I can tell. CVRR, another oil play. It's got this resistance level right at 11-ish, okay? So that was a high back here, and then it's starting to ramp up, and now it's just consolidating right at 11. So I would watch this one, and for a breakout, I push out of this little sideways pattern here into new highs. Looks pretty good, and you can see kind of the high of this candle back here, right in there, 1120 area. So you still got sellers that are probably selling to get out of the position and break even, and once those sellers are absorbed, I think this is going to go higher. And once again, take a look at the longer term chart here. Big downtrend and then a bottoming pattern here. So right through the 11 spot, once it breaks that one, the next resistance is probably up here at $13 a share. But I like this one. CVRR looks like it's going to go higher. Let's see, IPI. IPI, once again, I still have a position here, and I think I explained my reasoning behind this one, but you know, really beat down fertilizer stock. There has been some acquisitions in the space, and then you know, after this long base here, it had a big breakout on big volume, and now it's in this flagging pattern. It's lasting quite a while. So big breakout, and then so it's got this key support at 2, which it held. Okay, so it had this pullback to 2 area. Zoom in a little bit closer. See a little bit better here. So see this 2 spot, key support, pulled back here, ramped up, and then it's got this resistance, I don't know, 265-ish, somewhere in there. So here, you know, tested that, pulled all the way back here to 2, and the fact that it held that is good. That's a good sign. And so it's still in this flag pattern between 2 and 265 area. So as long as 2 holds, I'm going to hold this position and see how it plays out. But if 2 fails, then I'm going to have to cut it. But you know, if it gets back to 260, that'd be a nice profit. And if it gets bought out, which there was some news a few weeks ago, which I think caused this run up, was that they were talking to some investment banks about strategic alternatives, which could include potentially selling the company off. So it's pretty beat down. There's been acquisitions in the space, and so I think there's a pretty good chance this thing gets bought out. And if it does, you know, who knows, maybe $3 a share or something like that. So I like the chart pattern for now. That's IPI. SPPI is a biotech. Okay, so this one looks really nice. Had a nice see, here's a nice big downtrend, and then ramped up here to this resistance. See, right around 480 there. Let's see. So right around there at 480, it's got this resistance, and it tapped it there, pulled back. So it's a nice ascending triangle pattern, and it's just consolidating right there at that 480 spot. So this one looks like it's going to break out through this 480 spot. Potentially, you know, if you're looking at this for a profit target, you know, the base of this pattern, I would say, you know, the average base maybe from $4, take this depth of $4 to 480, so that's 80 cents. You can add that on there to 480 to get your profit target, first profit target there. But that's a nice looking bottoming pattern there on SPII. Okay, IIPR is another one. This was a one that I actually traded back on the IPO day because I thought this thing was going to run, but it's the first listed on the major exchanges company that's directly involved in the marijuana industry, besides the pharmaceutical GWPH, I think, and a couple other ones. But this one basically is a real estate investment trust that invests in the marijuana infrastructure. And so this one failed here, but it's a recent IPO, and it's got a high here around 2050, and it's just been kind of stair-stepping higher here. You know, here was your higher low. So here's your high or low right here from this low, and then it broke above this recent high. So it's you see the pattern here, higher high or higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, and then a clean breakout from the IPO basing would be about 2050. So if this one breaks 2050, I'm going to take a position in it, because of the an IPO base breakout is very bullish, and also because the sector, the marijuana sector, you're seeing all the patterns in the sector that are strong. So that's one to watch. MSIG, my favorite setup for Monday is, so this one, we'll talk about it really quick. When this thing started running back here in the marijuana sector, right when it broke out of this spot right here, back here, I bought this one and did very well. I mean, it ran up from 12 and a half cents all the way to near 20. Now I got out at around 18 cents because it pulled back and it just wasn't holding, and then it had this big sell-off, and then just kind of fell off a cliff. And at that point, I wasn't even nearly interested in the marijuana sector. But what happened is that it basically put in a bottom, created this, let's see, kind of an ascending triangle pattern here, right? See that right there? Remove this. Okay. And so through 14, it broke that, and then so that was the first indication, and then the next spot was up here at 20, somewhere in 20, which looks to me like the key level, even though, let's see, go back here. Even though, obviously it gapped up below 20 there, kind of faded, whatever, but right in here at 20 was a key spot in my mind, and you can see on Friday how it just punched up right through 20. So just like CBIS, just like the other marijuana plays, this one looks like it's going to be breaking out of this range here through 20 area and then making some new highs. So we'll see how that plays out, but I really think this one's going to go higher. And just to put it in perspective, guys, let's look look at 3 years ago, a 3-year chart of MSIG. I mean, this was back in I guess 2014, but this thing got all the way up to 90 cents when this weed sector got hot again. So it's been beaten down all this time, and then if it breaks through 20 cents, it's kind of breaks through this recent highs here, kind of clear skies up here. So I mean, who knows where these things are going to go? But I know that Canada is going to legalize recreational marijuana for the whole country sometime this early this year, which is really a really big news. You've got California online, a lot of the big states that legalized it, recreational marijuana. So the patterns are there. I'm going to trade them, and I like this MSIG. OWCP, also a marijuana play. So very similar pattern. Right here. Here's the high, 20 cents. Downtrend, and then ramping back up near this 20 cents area for a breakout. So I'd watch this one just like I would the other marijuana plays. And the fact that they all have similar patterns gives me more confirmation. So when you see the pattern in one name, it's not as strong as when you see the pattern across the names. But the fact that I see it in MSIG, I see it in CBIS, I see it in OWCP, I see it in a lot of these names, that's where I'm like, okay, the movement has begun, and let's get in it and trade it, which is what I did back in October and did very well. So nothing is for sure, but I feel pretty good about it. AXIM, another one that's putting in, this one ran up from like $1 a share, and it's all the way up to like $9. So I mean, yes, it's extended, but the pattern looks like an ascending triangle here, and then right around this $9 spot, if that breaks, I could see this one breaking through this recent high at, basically through $10 and making some new highs. So this is one to watch, AXIM. And then one more marijuana play is GRNH. So let's take a look at this chart here. once again, I was annotating this last time. Downtrend starts to reverse here, puts in the higher lows, first higher high, the breakout through that base, and then what you're seeing now is, so here's your breakout, and then you get a brief pullback, and you put, it looks like you put in a higher low here, right? And then this one likely is going to break out through this recent high here and just continue this uptrend. So that's what I see there in GRNH. I think that one's going to go higher. So, all right, just a few more names. ETE, an oil play. Take a look at this chart right there at $20. Okay, recent high from this candle wick, tested it again, flagged out, testing it right there near the $20 level. If it breaks 20, it's a good buy trigger there on this one, and that would be, let's see what that would be. So that would be, it would be a breakout to, let's see, not a 2-year high, but maybe a 1-year high. Yeah, it'd be a new 52-week high there, ETE. You can see where it bottomed way back here in February of 16. So a lot of the oil plays, longer term, are making some nice uptrends. So ETE looks good through 20. Let's see what's one more. Let's see. This is OIS, another oil play here. So once again, higher low, ascending triangle. So this one technically may have already broken out, but here's the pattern. Something like that. See that? So OAS is an oil play. Looks good. And then finally, Apple, which I will not trade because it's just a massive company and it's just not volatile enough, doesn't move quickly enough. But let's take a look at Apple over longer term. Let's see, that's a 1 year, okay, and then let's take a look at the 2 year. So the most recent pivot point is right in here at 118, and next resistance may be up here at 123. So you can see here where it's sitting right there at that breakout level, and looks like it's ready to make a breakout to at least a new 52-week high. So just technically a good looking setup, but probably not something I will trade because it's such a big company and doesn't move very much. But so anyway, that's all I got, guys. Very bullish on the marijuana sector for next week. Also bullish on biotechs and a few oil plays as well. So that's what I'll be looking at. And if you guys have any questions, any feedback, anything you want to tell me, feel free to email me or hit me up on Twitter. And I hope you guys have a good week trading, and we'll see you Monday. Thanks.